Welcome, welcome. It's me. We back. Happy World Doula Week and Women's History Month. It's your lady, hashtag Spark Plenty of Sparkle here. And I have my lovely ladies here as co-hosts today. And we are here celebrating World Doula Week. But before we go into what is World Doula Week and all the things that we need to know, I'm going to give us a little bit of an opening to kind of set the tone. And we're going to pretty much introduce everybody. So, for people who are listening to know who everyone is. Okay, there we go. So, join us for a powerful edition of SisStar Cipher on Reality Speaks TV as we honor the sacred work of doulas, the wisdom of womankind, and the resilience of our stories. In celebration of World Doula Week and Women's History Month, this live stream brings together fierce and compassionate birth workers, healers, and soul sisters for a raw, real, and radiant conversation. We'll explore the legacy of womb work, the beauty of ancestral birth practices, and the power of sisterhood in shaping new generations. Stay tuned in as we amplify voices, share truth, and celebrate the divine force of women creating change from the inside out. Before we begin, Women's History Month is a time to uplift the voices, legacies, and contributions of women who have shaped our world, often in ways that go unseen, unheard, and uncelebrated. From the front lines of activism to the front lines of the birthing room, women have always been the bearers of life, truth, and transformation. World Doula Week, observed every year from March 22nd to March 28th, celebrates the powerful life affirming work of doulas around the globe. This week reminds us that birth is not just a medical event, it's a sacred rite of passage. Doulas are the guardians of the sacredness, offering emotional, physical, and spiritual support to birthing people through pregnancy, birth, and beyond. So tonight, we honor the warriors of the womb, the keepers of ancestral knowledge, the sisters, in this case, the sistars, who speak truth. And that's what you get when you read it, right? When did I let go of? This is, okay, deep breath. Let us hold hands and hold space as we tell our stories of birthing people with compassion and strength, from birth work to back rubs, from advocacy to delivery rooms, to checking in during postpartum, and our doula's role. Our role is rooted in love, empowerment, and presence. Historically, doulas have always existed, especially in communities of color, as the aunties, wise women, and birth workers who walk with families through the most vulnerable and powerful transitions of life. I got that out the way. Hi, ladies. So I'm just so happy that you all could be here. What I would like to do now is take the opportunity to introduce everyone. And while you introduce yourself, I want you to please tell me what made you decide to become a doula? What inspired you to become a doula? And I'm going to start with Denisha.
Hi, my name is Denisha Vargas. I have three children of my own. I have a 9-year-old and a set of twin girls. Um, I am American, but I have a lot of family from the Dominican Republic, so I have a lot of Caribbean in me. Um, I am a doula, a birth and postpartum doula. Um, I also try to support with any transitions once in a while, but I haven't had access to anything like that, thank God. So One of the things I will share, one of the things that motivated me into becoming a doula was my own experience. So there were things that I naturally felt, like that I feel like intuitively every woman just naturally wants, which is a natural labor. You want to breastfeed your baby. You want to try to do it without any medication. And I realized when I entered the hospital setting that it was a war zone per se. I had to fight for the things that I wanted. I was constantly being like, it was like a mind game, like that everything that I felt genuine was like wrong. And I knew that wasn't true. So after my experience with my son, I had a very big awakening from his birth because it was a beautiful experience to finally meet my son. But after I sat with everything that happened, I realized that I have a lot of women in my family, and I was one of the oldest ones, and that they were going to need guidance or any type of support, help, information. Like, yo, watch out. So I actually took the step and was like, you know what? I'm going to educate myself. And I helped a few of my cousins. Um, and that was my inspiration as to why. It was because I have so many women in my family and I wanted to make sure that they understood what was happening in the hospitals.
Mm, yes. And thank you, B.
Of course.
So then we're gonna go to Sister Tioka. Welcome.
Peace and blessings, doula sisters.
Peace and blessings.
My name is Sister Tioka Muhammad. I do not remember when I started my journey as a doula, but I believe it's connected to when I started homeschooling, which is like 20 years ago. Um, when I got exposed to women that were doing things naturally, which is a little over 20 years ago, and hearing their stories and feeling like I didn't get an opportunity to experience things because of lack of knowledge. And so what drove me was that I didn't want anyone else to not be in the know when it comes down to their body and giving birth. And so I wanted to be that advocate for for individuals to be able to do what I wasn't able to do because I didn't have the support nor the knowledge. So it started off with of course, friends, family. But what got me to become an actual doula, go through the training, was I had a friend, I'm a personal trainer as well. And a woman that I was training, she was trying to get pregnant. And because I had talked to her about, you know, witnessing births and the beauty of that and so forth and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, um, you should go to this training. And so that was before I was 12. So that was over 10 years ago. And her thing was, you know, I she knew that I was doing the work without being like certified or licensed or whatever, without having the actual training. She knew that I kind of jumped into it where it was like, here I am to the rescue. There's somebody that needs a support and I'll be there and actually I'll play catch at the same time. And
Mm-hmm.
because of me being a personal trainer, knowing the anatomy of the body and what different massages and movement, you know. But her thing was that she wanted me to be her doula once she was able to, you know, conceive, and she wanted me to have the specific training. So I did that, and then down the line, I did actually become her doula, but I was her postpartum doula. So, but my passion is more or less like I coined the term like rescue doula. Like if somebody's in crisis, and they don't have anyone else, because that's the position that I was in, and I didn't have access to it. I want to be that access. Doula is bigger than just birth work, because just like as a medical practitioner, I feel like I have to be an example as far as the whole overall health. So it's not just, you know, when you're pregnant and then postpartum, is also the preparation, right? As far as, mind, body, and soul, but then it's also the heavy education component. And then there's even that before. And I know me and you, Sister Neisha, we talked about it in our book club, where we talked about there's another part that we want to target. And so I'm looking forward to that one too. Okay, that's it.
Thank you for sharing. I just want to say, shout out to your shirt. I'm feeling it.
Ah,
I'm feeling
praise be to Allah.
it.
Praise be to Allah. Praise be to God.
And Ashley, amazing Ashley. I purposely, strategically put you to be this one because not only do I want to ask you why did you become a doula, I want you to after you tell us why you became a doula, I want you to talk a little bit about what inspired you to train doulas. Okay, go Ashley.
Well, hi.
Hi, welcome.
Finally, I made it. I mean,
Yes, welcome.
yes. Listen, Sundays are usually not good for me. Like, I almost took a nap coming from those three different church services, and I was like, nope, because I'm gonna oversleep. I'm not gonna hear the alarms. I was like, no, let me just stay up so I don't miss this. So, but yeah, I'm um, Ashley Ingram, and what made me become a doula was very, very simple. It was in 2012. I'm sorry, 2012, and I had just had my second child. And so a lot of doulas, like, it's their birth experience that kind of like makes them want to become a doula, right? Um, some things that went on at the end of that pregnancy, uh, it didn't sit right with me. So I started warning different friends of mine that I knew were pregnant, right, based on stuff that I experienced. But then later that year, I watched a documentary called The Business of Being Born. And when I saw like everything that, the different interventions and the tests and the screenings and all these different things pretty much there to um, benefit the doctors and, help put more money in their pockets, things like that. Um, I was like, wow, so I want to protect moms from having to deal with that, you know? So it shifted from being a matter of, oh, this could be wrong with your birth to being, well, maybe they might be creating some problems so that they can fix the problem. I started seeing it that way. Maybe not like they were doing it intentionally, but like just the system of it all. It was a lot that was just part of the system of birth that created problems for us that they then needed to fix those problems. So I was like, yeah, I want to try to help other women to not fall into that trap of, the cascade of interventions and stuff. And that's simply how it was. It was, how it started. It was, seeing the other motives in it and feeling like, yeah, no, that we don't need to be subject to that.
Mhm. Yeah, we don't need to be subject to that. It's so deep, and that's pretty much for me personally. It was because of the information. I always feel like knowledge is power. The more we know, the more we can help. Um, I was fortunate because I was part of a sister circle that started at the Cara L. Crooms Business Education and Cultural Activity Center in Utica with you, Ashley, and I was able to get certified and I have to pay. I thought that was really good for me because at the time I didn't have the funds, but I did want the education. I did want the information. So to be part of such a circle of African American women is real important to me, because I don't know the statistics, but I'm sure one of you do, about Black birth. You know, I don't know it off the top of my head, but I do know that Black women perish in these birthing hospitals or centers more than a so-called counterpart. So I wanted you to tell me what prompted you, what inspired you, or what was the motivation in joining forces to want to train women to become doulas?
Yeah. Um, my, I think it comes from when I first got started, it was similar to what you said. Like, I didn't really have the funds like that. It took someone really taking a chance on me. I was just very, very passionate. I was telling a lot of moms about, the information I was gathering, like online from different documentaries, stuff like that, getting different books and stuff, anything that I could get the information from without spending a whole lot of money. And then eventually someone saw my passion and they took a chance on me to get me a free scholarship for becoming a certified lactation counselor. And so once I did that, I started to gain some more notoriety. I had my twins, and then I wound up getting the funds to get a doula training. And even when I did the doula training, the hosts were willing to discount the price for me, just because the passion was there. So it started like that, the idea that I was that mom that wanted to get the training, but I just didn't really have those funds. And I knew that that was a barrier for many of us. Okay. It looked like this. It was a barrier for many of us. So I was like, why don't we attack that barrier by providing a free training? So then, you can get that knowledge and not have to, scour the web and try to buy as many books as possible. Just get you right into that training. It's in person. They're doing hands-on stuff like that. And then, provide the mentorship. So then you're not just getting the knowledge, but like someone's able to walk you through like your first client type thing. So that's
Yes.
how I got that motivation, because I was that mom that was like,
Okay. We love Ashley, is what Shy says. Okay. Wonderful. So I do have some questions for you ladies. Um, does anybody else want to add on to that experience? You know, just the training, and how was it for you? I guess you guys kind of said it when you said why you wanted to become a doula, but I'm going to ask another question that can kind of open us up. I want to know, do you carry any ancestral or cultural traditions into your practice as a doula? And if you do, why? I'm going to start with Sister Tioka. Do you carry any ancestral or cultural traditions into your practice? And
I'm
if you
sorry.
do, why?
I said, well, I never had that question asked to me before. And I never thought about it in the way that you put it. So it's the power of prayer, right?
Right.
And, being upfront that this is what drives me, right? So this is what calms me. So, you know, we learn in the doula training, like to have the music that will, you know, our clients will help to soothe our clients. Um, but one of the specific things that I do, and this is after the baby comes out, is I recite the Fatiha in Arabic in their ear.
Mm.
So every child, but I let the parents know ahead of time. Every child um get that recitation. So that's the only thing I can think of that is
Well,
on
just
purpose.
just for people who might not know what the Fatiha is, can you please tell us? Oh, do you mind? I wouldn't mind hearing it. Like, what are these babies hearing from Sister Tioka and Doula? What are they hearing?
So the Al-Fatiha, which is called the opening, it is the most oft repeated verses of the Quran, and it's the first seven ayat, the first seven verses. And in English, it just says, "In the name of God, the beneficent, the most merciful, all praises is due to God, Lord of all the worlds, the beneficent, the most merciful, Master in the day of judgment, which we now let." Now, I'm not going to keep going, but I say that in Arabic, and um, it seemed like every time I do that, the child, like it's so, and all my children as well. So that's the one thing that I do. As soon as I get the child, I take it, in the right ear, and I whisper that.
That is beautiful. Thanks for sharing.
Yes, ma'am.
How about you, Tanisha?
So it's so funny because that's the in the beginning, you like in the introduction I mentioned that I was from the Dominican Republic because of that question that you asked me, because I never really thought about it. We don't have like any traditions right now. We're so disconnected from like our true ways, or like our just our true ways in general. Like we don't do things all the way. So I kind of wanted to say yes and no, because we do something without realizing. Like we have a really strong sense of community. So like everyone shows up. Everyone wants to help go be with you and your baby. So it's like I don't think they know, or maybe it's just what I believe, but I believe that intuitively we just understand that we are to gather in certain moments, especially like birth, death, marriage, anything like that. We tend to gather in community a lot in like large numbers. And granted, like birth is not maybe for everyone a place where we're supposed to welcome everyone. But if we're doing it right and we're in our homes, is a certain amount of people that you can have there that are there to help you if you have more children, or to help you with the dishes or with laundry and things like that. So I don't think that we do it intentionally, because sometimes parts of our community is more like, I just want to hold the baby. But I think we are learning now, because of also communities like these, where we're like, yeah, let's go visit the mom, but let her take care of the baby and let's take care of mom, which is what I hope to kind of flip the script on that whole narrative. And maybe that, that's a goal. Um, but that's the only thing that I could have thought of. To kind of connect my culture into anything that's being done now. Because now I think my people
Mhm.
just believe and trust in the hospital. And there's no competing with that, because why suffer if I don't have to, you know?
Exactly. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Ashley, the same question. Do you remember the question? Because I'm not sure, though.
Yeah, I actually have the questions sitting here at the bottom of
Oh,
my screen
thank you, Ashley.
so that I can like remember them. Um, this one was tough to answer because there are a lot of things that I do in my practice that is considered ancestral or cultural traditions, but the way I learned them was not in the context of this is ancestral or this is a cultural tradition. It was things that like I took my my overall view of birth being that it should be natural, unhindered, unbothered, unmedicated, right? And so then I started learning all of these practices that were in the hospital that inhibited, natural, free, unbothered type birth. And that's how I learned them versus someone saying, hey, this is what you should do because it's like our culture or ancestral. So like I use rebozos. That's something that is ancestral, cultural for the Mexican population and Native Americans. They use those. There's a bunch of different. That's just like an example, right? There's a bunch of things that I do that are ancestral practices. Um, I'm not really sure, like if I can say like traditionally, I'm always going to do a specific thing with all of the clients that I have, besides praying with them. Okay, that's probably the most I got. Like sometimes it could be that I'm actually praying with them, or I'm just praying in the room, or like I've worked with other religions and I protect the religious practices that they have. So I've had husbands that brought their prayer mat, and I would speak to the nurses and say, hey, like, give them a moment, let them have this space. So, I mean, I guess you could count that as something that is traditional, cultural, ancestral. Like I try to protect that because it's like what Sister Yoka said, power of prayer. Like we gonna give space for that. Okay. We're gonna give space for that because we can't do this on our own. Like, there's a lot with birth that just can't be predicted. It can't be, manipulated as much as we want it manipulated. Like there is a higher power that is at work, and we need to put some sort of trust in the Lord that He will like make sure everything turns out all right. Might not be perfect, but at least can turn out all right. The baby is fine. The mom's good. We hope that she doesn't have a bunch of traumatic, memories from that experience. But yeah, I think I would have to go with prayer as well.
Mm, I like that. Yes,
Uh,
prayer definitely works. And
can I just,
Hmm.
yes, please.
yes. I'm gonna have to go off only because I have to prepare for iftar.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna still listen though, but I'm probably
absolutely.
off camera. Okay. And I just wanted to just dovetail what Ashley said. One of the things about the Al-Fatiha or the opening prayer is that in the Arabic, it says Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The translation is with the help of God. With.
Hmm.
So that's why, even though I never looked at it as like an ancestral, I never looked at it like that. I mean, just like to her point, like we gonna need some help. So
Okay.
with the help of God, the most merciful, the most, but it was like the most all powerful, like so it's calling on the creator. So I just wanted to put that in, but I'm gonna go off campus and I'm gonna listen. And if I can chime in, I will chime in, but I gotta start cooking for the plate.
Okay, absolutely.
Thank
Totally
you.
understandable. Thank you for joining us. Salam alaikum,
Yeah.
my sister. So the other thing that I was gonna say is like mine is not also so far as ancestry. I only had one birth, another well, I actually been around. I think I've been a doula before I've known I've been a doula, or before I got certified with Sister Circle, right? But I want to think that I like to read the room, for example, or ask the mother, what do you prefer? Like the last time, my first dually, she wanted me to read scriptures from the Holy Bible. And that was awesome because what I did, I had an opportunity to do some research and put together what scriptures of the Bible go with childbirth, and I read them to her. I would like to personalize each mother's experience, and that's how I will relate to it, I guess, ancestral, because the Bible goes back long. Like my grandmother, my mother, like I believe I'm still surviving on my grandmother's prayers. So that's definitely the tool that I use. And then Shy, if you are still here, tell us what made you become a doula so I could read to the people. um, she said thanks for having me. Oh, she's leaving too. I wanted to know what made her become a doula. But I wanted to read this, ladies, before I go forward. I only have a couple more questions. I won't keep you ladies long either. We're gonna go until about 8 o'clock. Um, I wanted to read about Black women in the United States face significant disparities in maternal health outcomes compared to their white counterparts. In 2021, the maternal mortality rate for non-Hispanic Black women was 69.9 deaths per 100,000 live births, which is 2.6 times higher than the rate for non-Hispanic white women, which stood at 26.6 deaths per 100,000 live births. These disparities extend to infant health as well. As of 2022, infants born to Black women had an infant mortality rate at 10.9 deaths per 1,000 live births, more than double the rate for infants born to white women, which is 4.5 per 1,000. Several factors contribute to these disparities, including differences in access to quality health care, social economic status, prevalence of chronic health conditions, and experiences of racial bias within the healthcare system. Notably, many of these maternal deaths are considered preventable, highlighting systemic issues with maternal health care that need to be addressed. Efforts to improve these outcomes involve addressing the underlying social health, enhancing the quality of life provided to Black women, and implementing policies aimed at reducing these inequities. And I just wanted to know that you ladies want to say something in reference to that. Oh no, I can't hear you, Shy. Um, okay. You ladies hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. Okay. Hey, Tracy. Welcome.
Hey, thank you.
How you doing? So, I just read some statistics in
What you
regarding
doing?
um, Black women in healthcare, and I know Ashley knows all about it. I'm like, do I want to just always call Ashley and tell her? Ashley, tell us what you taught us in doula class. Ashley, tell them. But Tracy, before I move on to Denisha, I wanted to ask you, why did you become a doula? First of all, happy Women's History Month. Happy World Doula Week, and welcome.
Thank
And
you.
tell us why did you decide to become a doula?
Excuse me, let me clean my camera off. Lord. There we go. I decided to become a doula because I wanted people to experience um a good part of it. I had a wonderful pregnancy. I had labor and delivery was very long, but at the same time it was nice. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. However, learning more in our class, and just recently when I was at the Wynn Hospital, I told one of the ladies because I like more of the educational part of nursing and figuring things out. And I told her, she's like, "Oh, you're gonna be a nurse?" I was like, "No, I found my niche through being a doula." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, we need more of you in this community." And when she said that, I just knew that I'm in the right spot. I'm in the right spot. My passion for children and just helping people in my community. I'm sure I'll see other people that don't look like me, but just helping people in my community, enlightening them on the stages of birth and what to expect when expecting, just helping them, just enlightening them is what I really am here for, is enlightening them and just letting them know, like, hey, breastfeeding is a really good thing. It's fun, it's nourishing, and it's a closeness, a bond that you build with your child. And just, I want to be able to just show them how to do the right thing. So that's what is, especially the class that Ashley allowed us to be a part of.
Yes,
That is what I'm like, oh, this is wonderful. And also, Black Women's Blueprint also inspired me as well. So, Black Women's Blueprint bought acres of land in Ava, New York, and they were talking about midwifery and how Black women were midwives. And when they seen what was going on, that's when they decided to put certification and labels and things on it. And I learned a
Mhm.
lot from Black Women's Blueprint. I did a mobile daycare. Matter of fact, Sister Tioka and I did that, and that was wonderful. So seeing those pictures, along with learning from Ashley and the doulas that trained us, really kept me in the circle of wanting to be a doula. So I look forward to. I did one birth, but that was it was more so on via FaceTime with my niece with her baby, and she was experiencing things. And Lord, did I want to be in that hospital? I was like, no. I even called. I text Ashley. I was like, Ashley. She's
Mhm.
like, no, that should not be happening. So on and so forth. And I was like, okay, thank you. Bop, 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 bop. Fingers went to town, and I was like, all right, cool. You know. So, and also learning that when they do an epidural, how the heart rate go up, and like you just said recently, they cause things to make things happen. And I'm not saying everything is wrong with medicine because God made people to be intelligent to serve us medication and stuff like that. Or either I wouldn't be here talking and being able to move my hands if I didn't have some sort of stuff. But at the same time, I don't know how true it is, so you know what? I'm not going to even put that out there. But yeah, that's my main reason for becoming a doula, to share my
Wow,
knowledge.
that's a great
Hmm.
story.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes, you're welcome.
And then we have some comments. That's Sharona Carter on Facebook saying Happy Women's History Month to us all. Happy
Yes.
Women's History Month, Sharona.
You want to come up, Alice?
And she says, you cut an umbilical cord in 2010. Yeah, she's right. She's talking about me. She's talking about my nephew's umbilical cord. That's why I said I was
Nice.
a doula before I even was certified because I've been cutting umbilical cords for at least 20 years. You know, I've been my friends and my family just to support being kind of what I do. So to get trained for it is like phenomenal. And Shy, are you with us?
I'm here. You can
I
hear
can hear
me?
you, beautiful. Can you please tell us why did you become a doula?
Well, it was a few reasons. And I just want to say, hey, this is our week, especially to us that graduated with Ashley. Go us!
Go
Hey,
us!
we get a whole week. Okay.
We get a
I
whole
feel
week.
so happy. I feel good. We get a whole
Nice.
week. So, one of the main reasons that I became a doula that I can express tonight that I'm seeing more and more often is becoming a dilemma with our color people or women of color is
Mm-hmm.
uh is that the hospitals are to black women what the police are to black men. And the
Mm,
statistics, the knowledge, the ratings, everything screams that. So if we can have more at home births, or more natural births, I think that would be dope.
mm. That's interesting. We are to hospitals. Black women are to what black men are to police. That's a profound
Yeah.
statement. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Excuse me.
Okay. So I guess I'll move right along to the next question. Anybody? So I don't know, actually, if you even if you answered the question on why did you decide to train. You probably did. I don't know.
Yeah, we
Okay.
did.
Okay. All right. So
You know,
the
I
next
wanted to add something real quick. I like what
absolutely.
Tracy said. You know that because she was talking, you know how we were talking about like what is cultural when it comes to birth, and something that Tracy said kind of sparked when I was learning the history of midwifery and where it actually came from. It was funny because you can tell the cultural traditions in the work that's being done, like in
Mm-hmm.
doula work in general is traditionally how melanated people all over the world cared for each other. Like it was our way. Go with the flow. Let nature guide you. How do you feel? Do you want to move over here? Do you want to have your baby over there? Do you prefer to eat or not eat? Like I feel like all those things were already natural patterns that we went through. And how Tracy was saying, when all that information was basically colonized and used for money, um, that's when it was all stolen. And now it's like it's called free birth or all these things when it's like my mom, I'm from a small little country, we don't even have roads, and there was a Mama Fani, which is the midwife that everybody knew, and every kid called that lady mama because and every culture I
Yes.
feel, every group of people that had deep rooted culture treated labor this way. It wasn't until it was hijacked that the culture was separated, and now it's like, oh, you got to listen to what the professionals have to say. We've never had to. Like, it was always in here. Like, intuitively, we just knew what to do. You feel like moving, you put your leg up, you're like, okay, I need more space. I need to move this way, or I need to be on
Mhm.
all fours. Like, all those things were a natural ebb
Okay.
and
Mhm.
flow of our natural process, essentially.
Mm, that's interesting. You just intuitively
Yes.
knew it. And
Yes.
that also reminds me of like how they want us to be like with with IV and kind of like with the monitor, and laying on the back is actually, it's like one of the worst positions.
Right.
Yes. 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 That's what we learned. Laying on the back, and if you put like a little towel underneath, and that's the things that we want to share is that I would love, I'm gonna find these pictures and I would love to share these pictures with everyone. I have them. Just they look, I mean, to me, they're very, I'm sure to you guys, they're going to be beautiful as well. But I'm going to find these pictures and share them with y'all because just women, midwives that were there, just looking over the, like you stated already, they were just looking over the ladies, like, just looking over them, like, you all right? You going to be all right, sister? I got you, mama. You know what I mean? Rubbing their backs. And those pictures are just so profound and so deep, so deep. And there was no IV pole hanging. It was just a
Mhm.
woman, two women with each other. I mean, Black Women's Blueprint, I really, that was, whoa, that was nice. And like I stated, there it's in April, New York. It's like 342 acres of land up there. So if anybody, they said if you go on their website, if you have something you would like to bring up there, bring it to them and you can bring it up there. So yeah, that was, and that's drew me. And then Ashley just threw it over the water, like, girl, listen, this is what we, and even just her knowledge, you would think that she was in this since she was a teen, like before it's teenage years. It's just so innate in you. Thank you,
Yes.
Ashley. Thank you.
Aw.
Thank you. It's a blessing to have someone like you to be a part of our community, to teach us yoga. All of us, we are blessed to each other, you
Yes.
know. So this is nice. Thank you for putting this on tonight, Sparkle. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. This is wonderful. Thank
Absolutely.
you. And culturally, you know what we do culturally? We keep our babies wrapped up. We keep hats on
Mhm.
their heads. We keep their
Mhm.
feet closed up and everything because we're like, we can't let air get on them. Like, that's what we do. So
Mhm.
other times when I was there, I forgot where I was at. Right out here for St. Patrick's Day. A baby was outside, like an infant, was outside with no hat and no shoes on. And I'm like, oh, okay. And another thing that we also do is like we like to wrap ourselves up. You know, you wrap yourself up and you
With
keep
that belly,
yourself
that
closed up because you
Yeah.
don't want no air to get in you, supposedly. I mean, that's from back, and that's from like our ancestors. Keep your clothes on, keep your head covered after you finish having a baby because you want to make sure,
Mm.
you don't catch cold and all that, supposedly.
that's a
You know,
fact.
Yeah.
the older, the grandmothers and the great grandmothers
Yeah.
told us stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like the whole I don't know if I'm unmuted or not. Okay. Yeah, but it's kind of like the whole thing where they used to say like when you're sitting, don't cross your legs. or they say don't reach
Yes.
over your head. I mean,
Yes.
I broke all the rules during pregnancy. I mean, I definitely would like be reaching for like a canned good, and my husband would be like, didn't they say you're not supposed to reach over your head? I just like, I don't know, I'm just fine. Or like,
Right.
they would say, if you got a lot of heartburn, your baby must have a lot of hair. I've heard those
That's a
different
lot.
things.
Old wives' tales.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
old wives' tales. Yeah.
Wow.
That's nice. Thank you.
So we have another comment. She says, when I was in labor with Tati, the nurse told me that she was going to strap me down if I kept moving. But it helped with the pain
On all
when I was
fours.
come
Yeah.
somebody read that because this don't make no sense. Let
On
me get
all
my
fours.
glasses.
On all fours, like hands
Oh,
and knees.
okay. All right. And she said, first child, first time experienced that, and I would never forget how nasty those nurses were. And then
Oh
she
yeah, they
writes
can be like
superpower.
that.
So let's speak to that. Why are they even tying us down? Like they treat us like animals, like for real. Like what I learned in doula classes, like the best way is to be like this, like right, like on your,
Let
like
gravity take its
come
Well,
on.
you have to keep in mind that nurses are clinicians, right?
Mhm.
We aren't clinicians, so we're not. Our focus isn't. Sorry, I'm trying to plug up my laptop real quick before it dies. Um, our
Same.
focus is the comfort of the mom and comfort as far as, emotionally, psychologically, and physically, right? And so, but with the nurses, they're more so concerned about, things like heart rate and, oxygen levels, blood pressure, making sure like the baby's yeah, the safety measures. And so they're thinking about not just the mom, but the baby as well. Whereas our primary focus is the mom, right? We are with women, right? And so they're trying to make sure the baby's okay, but they can't see the baby, right? They can't really get access to the baby. So sometimes they'll go to different extremities or, expense to just try to get a hold of the baby, right? So they don't really care. Like, we have to strap you down. Like, we have to strap you down because we got to get this baby out. Because, like, we can't help the baby's blood pressure or, really like monitor the baby while he's inside of you. We can't, you know, care for the baby or try to like treat the baby while he's inside you. So, like, they need that. This is one of the main reasons for, pushing C-sections because they can get access to the baby a lot faster. So in a way, on one side of it, it is, for the safety of the baby, because that is their patient as well. They want to make sure that baby's fine. But for us, the nurses don't get doula training. You know what I'm saying? So like they're not their focus isn't on having a very natural and enjoyable experience for the mom.
Right.
Their point is they got to get this baby out so that we can treat the mom and the baby separately and make sure they're all straight. So they just, yeah.
Well, what were you gonna
Oh, you're
say?
muted.
I was gonna say, Denisha, could you tell me? I don't know about the DR and Dominican Republic. Do they do the same thing? Like, do they tie the baby? I mean, do they tie the mom to the bed and like?
Well, in DR is a little worse, I want to say, because the women are so brainwashed into avoiding the whole act of birth and labor
Wow.
that they will vouch for C-sections and like pick their child's birthday and voluntarily go in on a certain day to get a C-section. So I learned about that without even having children yet, and I thought that was absolutely insane. And that was before, again, like I was a teenager when I found out that people in my town were doing that, right? So then I come here and I something in me is just attached to the idea of like a natural labor and like not needing anyone. Like I was clear on that. If I have me and I come from God, why the hell would I need any type of intervention to stay alive? What do you mean I have a deficiency that I can't live with? Like, what do you mean? People have been doing this. How did we get here?
Right.
We didn't have none of those things back in the days. Like I said, women were birthing in their house in the countryside, and because they didn't have access to hospitals, they just had to face it, you know? So it's like, to me, I understood all my family members were born at home, but then I was born and my generations are now born in hospitals. And
Mm,
everyone loves to be like, oh, it's okay, but it's not. There's a lot of differences in a natural labor and a medicated labor. So one of the things is that we have to understand that there was a major hijacking of the knowledge. They stole it all. So we don't even, if we don't have the oral traditions of like passing it down, we lose sight of these things with every generation.
Mm-hmm.
So when they hijack the system, they don't add it to the curriculum. Now they just, the nurses are being trained as if you need them. You will die without the nurse, and the nurse thinks that without her, you and your baby are gonna die, and that's because they've never witnessed a physiological birth. They don't know that exists. Now, when you mention I don't want vitamin K because I didn't have a traumatic birth, they can't understand. Oh, but your baby doesn't have it. What if you drop your baby? First of all, why would I be doing anything where I'm gonna drop my baby?
right.
The, like everything is, it's very perfectly coordinated.
Mm,
Why is there a deficiency in vitamin K? Because if the baby's blood is clotting, there is no transfer from the placenta to the baby. So if
Because we
we do
cut it too
administer
soon.
vitamin K, it cuts the transfer and the placenta
Yeah.
being able to shove everything back into the baby. So we essentially steal all
Mm-hmm.
these things
Mm-hmm.
that belong back in our children. So but how do you explain that to a nurse? She has no idea. She just knows there's a lack of vitamin K. If accidentally anything happens, someone's gonna get fired. And it's like, this is a baby and a whole life. They can't think beyond like the spectrum that they have been placed in.
right.
So even if you get a nurse with the greatest of intentions, with the grandest heart, if her curriculum does not state anywhere that a physiological birth exists or is possible, they will not believe that. And we have to share that with women so that they know what they're walking into. Like, that specific system was not created for us. It actually was. It doesn't even benefit anybody except the doctors, nurses, and the anesthesiologists and all these people that get paid. But realistically, nobody benefits from anything happening in the hospital that has to do with birth, unless it's like a emergency, with which midwives are more than capable of
Mhm.
acknowledging way before it even happens and
Yes.
knowing exactly what to do. So, understanding that, I
Excuse
feel
me.
like it's crazy. Like, we have to be aware of that information.
Yeah. We
I have
have
a
to.
question. What do you think about lotus birth? I love the lotus birth. I'm all for lotus birth because of just what you stated about the placenta and being connected. If I had the knowledge of what I know now, I would have definitely left the placenta on on my son and just put it in a bowl right here and put herbs and things on it as well. Because he
Mm-hmm.
was healthy, a healthy child born and everything. And when I learned of cutting it so soon and so quick, I'm like, oh, this is okay. Now I understand it. Even understanding and learning about the epidural, how it makes a child's heart rate go up. And then once that happens, then we have to go in because we got to be careful because the heart rate is up. So now we got to do a cesarean section. And it's like,
Hmm.
oh, okay. So just learning, because I'm teaching myself more now, because when it's time for me to go in, I want to be very knowledgeable um, when I'm speaking to the people I'm assisting. So, what do you think about lotus birthing, ladies? I'm just curious.
Okay. So a lotus birth is when the umbilical cord is not cut after birth and the baby stays attached to the placenta until the cord naturally dries and falls off on its own. This usually takes about 3 to 10 days. Instead of clamping and cutting the cord shortly after delivery, as is done in most births, the placenta is kept close to the baby, often wrapped in herbs and stored in a special bag or cloth to reduce odor and preserve it. So I
So,
did my oh, excuse me, go ahead.
oh, well, I've done a lotus birth before.
Nice.
Baby number 6. It was a home birth with just me, my husband, and our other 5 children. Um, and that was
Nice.
very eventful.
Was it?
I'm
We,
excited to hear.
we didn't know what we were doing. I just,
I love that.
I knew that I wanted an Adam and Eve type of experience. My thought process was, they didn't have midwives back then. They didn't have doctors. They didn't have anyone skilled in birth. No one on earth had ever experienced a birth or could tell them what to do except the Lord, right? Having conversations with the Lord can guide them, right? So I was like, well, I'm sure they didn't have scissors back then. I'm sure they weren't, no one was there to tell them, tie it like this and all of that. I was like, well, let's just leave it alone, right? I mean, and I knew that I had read about Lotus birth. And so I was like, yeah, we're just gonna let this birth be like completely unbothered, right? But we didn't do as much research as we could have, right? So we did leave it on. The baby stayed attached for 5 days. And we did put rosemary on there and something else, I forget. But it stunk. Okay, it stunk. And my husband was like, "Yeah, if we ever have another child, we're not
Ain't having this.
doing this again." I did not like having to carry this bowl with the
Mm-hmm.
placenta everywhere we. And I just cracked up the entire time. Because in my head, I'm like, "Yeah, we're getting this experience. Like, this is so cool." For him, he's like, "Yeah, no, I don't need to prove nothing. Like, can we get rid of this?" So it was eventful. It was cool. It was fun to say, like, okay, I tried it. I experienced it. You know what to do, next time. Um, but yeah, you have to have a lot of patience because we're used to, the baby getting detached from everything, and you just have your baby and you just go everywhere. But it's like, yeah, we was gonna bathe the baby. The placenta had to be right there next to it. If I was, holding the baby in the baby carrier, placenta, I had to carry the bowl with me. My husband had to carry the bowl. Like 5 days of doing that, and so, but it definitely works. It does dry up on its own, and we got tired of dealing with it because the cord dried up much faster than the actual placenta. Okay. The cord dried up and we were like, yeah, we're done. It started kind of peeling away on its own. We kind of helped the process. I just went, we helped the process a little bit. Maybe it would have stayed attached another day or two. Who knows? But we was not gonna go farther than that. So, um, but yeah, it did dry up, and it started to peel away a little bit. So we just was like, we're gonna help it out a little bit, do a little bit of twisting, a little tugging. We didn't pull it off. It was like around the belly button was drying and pressing over. Of course, you don't want to just pull it and it's still, wet at the belly button. You know what I'm saying? So like we could see that it was healing on its own. And so yeah, we gave it a little gentle nudge. It came off quite like a scab that had been there for mad long, and so when you feel the scab, there's no blood. You know how we're itching at grabbing the scab, we want to feel it so bad. But
Mhm.
there's a time when you can feel the scab and you realize you have actual skin formed underneath and you're fine. That's how it was. So we did that, and then we actually cut pieces of the cord and gave it to each of our other five children as like gifts, and took pictures with them and their baby brother's little cord. You know, some of those cords are around here somewhere. But yeah, so yeah, lotus birth does exist. I think I have a few clients that have done it. I didn't stick around for it, but you know, they've done it.
Wow. How about you, Denisha? Have you ever? What do you think about lotus births?
I love the idea of lotus births also. I also understand that they're not for everybody. Someone like me, I would probably love a lotus birth and like Ashley said, get the experience out of it. I also want to say, like, I'm really grateful that you're sharing that experience because I also, women should know, like, there's other ways and not every way is going to be perfect. So, like, if you're not into a lotus birth, don't be ashamed. Like, there's other ways you can build tradition or do something, because, like she said, she wants to walk around. If you have a lot of people helping you and you
Yeah.
walk around with a bowl, but that's not going to be everyone's situation. But I do love the idea of it. I do believe that maybe it was one of the ways that we naturally did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do also want to share that it's so crazy because we don't even clamp the cord. We don't cut the cord. They clamp it and then
Mm-hmm.
they cut it way after. So it's so psychotic to me that they brainwash all these moms into just clamping the cord. Like, okay, if you automatically cut it, I'll be like, okay, whatever. They cut the cord, it makes sense. But you're gonna tell me that you won't advise against me letting it go, but you also clamp it. It's not even that you're fully cutting it. And so that like sparked a lot of interest in me. Like, why are they doing that? And then you find out that they sell your placenta and they sell it to these like cosmetic companies or like any of these like anti-aging companies. And then they the hospitals get like 50 to $70,000 for the organ that belonged
Yeah.
to your baby. Like that
Get
was
Yeah.
out of there.
insanity for me. So for me, a lotus birth is one of the main ways to go. That, or I advise at least, and I'll educate the parents, like they're not cutting it regardless. So you might as well let the baby get everything it needs. Because I do get parents, like men mostly, that push back and I don't know, they want to do everything the doctors want to do. And it's
Mhm.
like, I want to do what you want to do, but you can also only go as far as what you know. So,
Mhm.
in a sense, I let people know it is my duty to educate you, regardless of how you feel, of what I'm saying. And this is the information. Now, if I give you all this information and you want to just do what you want to do, that's cool. But you have to allow me the time and the space to share the information with you because I get a lot of people that like I have a very specific way of thinking, but when I become a doula, I'm not trying to make you think like me. I want you to have your best experience. But the only way I can do that is if I share all the information that's out there that's available, the pros, the cons, the risks, the benefits, the alternatives, the other options, like all these things. So sometimes you end up having to share information with women that they don't even want to hear. So like a lotus birth would be one of those things where they're like, girl, I'm not walking around with anything for 5 days. Okay, cool. These are your other options. At least you know.
Yeah.
Will they allow
Wow.
that in the hospital? Oh, you did it at home. I wonder if
Ye-
they'll allow that in the hospital. If you be like, you know what, I do not want to cut my placenta cord. I just want
Yeah.
to leave it. They will. You see?
Yeah. And you can take your placenta home.
That's exactly what my dually did. The first one, she didn't do the lotus, but she had a container when to keep it
mhm.
cool,
Wow.
and she took it home and she turned it into capsules.
Yeah.
And she took the capsules. I've never seen anything like that in my life. I've heard about it, but the lotus birth is very interesting. And what you just said, Denisha, about how what they do with the placenta is like, I'm going to tell everybody. Have you ever heard of lotus birth? Like,
Absolutely.
come on, this is mind blowing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would also say, I mean, you don't necessarily have to do the lotus birth to keep your placenta.
Yeah,
I
you
would
don't.
say just keep your placenta because you're by default donating this organ that is worth so much
Much
money. I
need.
mean, even if you don't really care what they do with the placenta, just take it yourself
Mm,
and you can throw it out, you know.
Right.
That's
I
literally what
would
I tell
say, yeah, pick a spot in your backyard and bury it. Plant a
them.
tree, you know, something.
Your garden
We
will
had
thrive.
ours, yeah, yeah. We kept ours in the freezer for like, I don't know, like a year or two or something. We never really wound up doing anything with it. I think we thought we were going to eventually plant a tree with it, but the freezer wound up going giving out like a year or so later, and then we were like, yeah, we're not going to keep trying to
right.
take care of this dead organ. Um, but I mean, there's lots of benefits to the placenta, lots of things you can do with it. Just make your own placenta, please. Don't
Nice.
leave it with them.
That's nice to know. I'm so happy to know that. Wow. That
Thank you
is
for
nice
bringing
to
that up,
know.
Tracy. Wow.
Absolutely. Because I'm very interested in, like I said, I mean, Ashley knows, I told Ashley, like, I really am deeply into this. I just haven't had the opportunity to really study and do what I need to do because of everything that was going on with me. But now that I'm getting much better, I'm able to do this type of stuff. And I knew about the Lowe's birth because of one of the people I follow. And I was like, oh my goodness, wow. And I didn't even know it would have a stench with the rosemary. I'm like, oh my goodness, a rosemary. You throw probably some thyme on there, some coriander, because coriander, the Spanish restaurant down on Bleecker Street next to the court, they gave me some coriander and he was like, here. I said, thank you, Poppy. When I tell you that coriander, I'll be able to share it with y'all soon because it's growing so nice. It smells good. So I'm thinking you throw a little bit of that one there. Ashley said, no. It still has,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, see, now I can share that with
I
other
mean, think
people.
about it. It's a dead body part.
What?
I
Mm.
mean, you
I
know,
don't
when
want to
they
make it sound
dealing
like
with,
we
you
got to
know,
sell it.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I know. Yeah, we gotta sell it. We gotta sell it. Yeah. Um, but I mean, yeah, yeah. So you're right. I do think there are lots of things that you can put on it to help get rid of the stench. I think we were just doing it wrong.
Mm. Trial
Yeah,
and
we
error.
weren't following all the rules.
Thank you.
Experience is the best
Yes.
teacher. Just the fact
Yes.
that you attempted to do it is something to
Absolutely.
be applauded,
Yeah.
because you have to jump out there to see what the experience is going to be like, so you know what to do the next time or to help other
Yeah.
mothers. That's
Hmm.
some interesting stuff. So before we close out, just got a couple of more questions for you ladies. What word best captures what birth works means to you? What
Mm.
word best captures what birth works means to you?
I can go first. You want me to go
Okay.
first? I chose the word sovereignty,
Mm.
um, because birth work transformed something in me. Like I was able to feel something inside of me, and then when I was shown, or like I actually dove into the birth world, I was able to finally see that. And it was like that full freedom and the full autonomy over myself, my whole self. So that's
Nice.
why the word sovereignty was like the best one, I feel, to describe, because it makes you the one responsible for you and no one else. So you reign your own kingdom and no one else can do that for you.
Mm.
We
Feeling
got it.
that. Yes. How about you, Tracy?
At this moment, I really don't have no word, and I just don't want to throw anything out there in the universe right now. That's that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I like that. How about you, Ashley?
Um, I think when I first looked at the question, I was gonna say life, but it was a little bit too deep. I
Mm.
think, I
It's
mean, because
always deep.
I know it is, but you know what? I wanted to pick a word that I could summarize quickly. Because as I was just talking to myself about, ooh, it means life and this and life and that, I was like, yeah, that's too much for the one interview. So the other word that came to me for me when it comes to my birth word is protection. I think
Mm,
that pretty much summarizes, it sums up everything. I feel the need to protect moms from being manipulated. I feel the need to protect moms from being bamboozled, coerced, um, protect them from being traumatized. You know, I don't want them to feel like their body was used like a cadaver or like a guinea pig, you know what I'm saying? Like an experiment, because we were being experimented on in the slavery days. You know what I'm saying? So like in my mind, I think that's what really started it for me, what triggered it for me. As like, yeah, we need protection from the hospital system. Like we need protection from the system of it all. Not that hospitals are just bad, just the system of it.
wow.
And how about
And
you,
thank
Fluffy?
you. Wow. All you ladies is like, so my word I just came up with is wealth. And it's a spin off my name, Olayemi, my Nigerian name, which means you are worthy of wealth. When it translates to how I feel as a birth worker, the wealth of information, the wealth of knowledge, the wealth of being able to help inspire a literal next generation. So whatever birth or whatever birth that we're capturing in real time with these moms and these families, this is actually the wealth of a new nation, right? A new tribe of a new addition to a tribe. And that's what I want to say, because wealth is beyond physical. It's
Mm-hmm.
not riches, it's a spiritual thing. So as a birth worker, what it means to me, I would say wealth. And I think this is the last question that I'm going to ask you ladies for tonight, because I want to wrap it up, is what wisdom would you share with a new doula or someone who's aspiring to be a doula? What would you share with a new aspiring doula?
I feel
Okay.
like I did so much talking over the 6 months that I was entering. Um, I will just, I will say this. You learn a lot in doula training, but you're not gonna really draw a whole lot from what you got from training. Most of what you're going to be putting into real practice is what you experience in the field. I mean, I go to trainings, like I've been to two trainings in the last 2 years, 3 years, and I know the stuff, but every time I go, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that is right. Because I don't tend to need a lot of that information when I get into the room. Like, because
Mm-hmm.
essentially we know how birth should go ideally, but we have to remember that our ultimate goal is to help the mom feel comfortable, help her feel safe, help her feel like she knows what's going on, help her feel like someone is listening to her. So like we don't want to be yet another professional that is coming into her space saying, well, you really should do this. Well, you really should do that. Well, don't listen to that. Don't listen to this. Why are you doing this? But we don't want to make it harder for her, right? So like I might have a lot of information, but a lot of it I just don't need to tell the mom. It's based on whatever her need is. So like doulas that are nervous about taking like their first client, I would say you probably won't need half of what you learned in training. So don't feel nervous like you need to be able to do a lot of educating. You know, like we're not childbirth educators unless like you're trained to be that. So you don't have to feel like, okay, what am I going to teach the mom throughout pregnancy? You really don't even have to teach her a whole lot. Not a whole lot. Like she can read a book about what to expect, but take that time to just get to know her. See how she likes to be supported. See what makes her feel safe. See what her fears are. And then if there are specific things where she's like, I want to know more about this or that, you can always Google it again. You can always go back into your training. So I would
Mhm.
say focus on each mom that you're working with and just be there for her. Like really, real easy, real simple. Just stand with her.
Mm, I like that.
Right. Yes, yes, okay. Yes.
I like that also.
That.
Um, I wanted to say that basically in agreement to what Ashley was saying, but what I did want to add was that something that did help me a lot was being aware of like hospital policy, and that hospital policy does not trump human rights and the right that your client has. So, like Ashley's saying, if you want to turn the lights off, if you want me to tell everybody to leave the room, if you want to come with three people, if you know, there's always circumstances and situations. But for the most part, that is not like another country. When you enter the hospital, there's a lot of policies that do not matter. So I like to let the doulas know you need to know what those things are in order to help your client the most. So like, you know, maybe as a doula you didn't know that, you know, you can take your placenta home. That's
Mm-hmm.
important to know. That you can record your whole birth. You can record the whole thing no matter what hospital you're in. That you're
Mm,
allowed to decline anything that you want to decline. That you don't have to sign anything you don't want to sign. Like there are so many different things that we should know about the hospitals before even stepping in. So, yeah, while we definitely, those things are not like the top of the list, because let's say I have a home birth, you know, maybe I'm not going to need to know all those things. But if I am a very specific doula for hospital settings, or most of my family wants to do, or most of my friends wants to do a hospital because that's where they feel the safest, understanding the battlefield that you're about to enter is really important. So finding out the true definition of giving consent and educating your client on that, so when they go on to appointment they don't get brainwashed or manipulated into, because a lot of what happens is we educate our clients and then they go to the hospital and it gets all undone. Everything
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
safe, everything we made them feel comfortable in. Now they're questioning it because it's a battle. So if we
mm,
know that before we get into there, and we can let the doulas know, like, yo, this is what it is. You need to know this before you go. They can prepare their clients a lot better to enter that frequency, because it's a fight in there. It really is. It's not meant to thrive. But some women do feel safer there, and we need to respect it. Like Ashley's saying, that's her vibe. So we need to go with her vibe and figure out how do we get the vibe in this mini prison that they want to create.
mm. How about you, Tracy?
I'm coming.
Okay. So, I guess what was the question? What word caption? No, no, no. What wisdom
What
would you share
wisdom?
with new or aspiring
Mm.
doulas?
Me, I would say because what what both ladies said is very impactful, and that's what we need to tell our people that we're assisting.
Mhm.
I would say for me, this is who I am. I would say enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride right now. There's gonna be highs, there's gonna be lows, there's gonna be times you want to close your eyes for a little bit. You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is taking a long time. But just enjoy it and enjoy it. That's it. Enjoy it. I'm just that person where I try to find joy in the littlest thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just that person. So just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say that I would like the new and aspiring doulas to, get to know the mother beforehand. Um, Maybe perhaps create a 5 to 10 question assessment so that beforehand, so when the delivery time does come, you
Mm-hmm.
already know what she likes. You already talked about it, and you can remind her, and also let her know that it's okay to change her mind.
Mm-hmm.
Be adaptable to surroundings. I said read the room earlier. Like be able to use your intuition or just look around you and see, although you did an assessment, what what can you do as a trained doula in the moment, or as a training doula? What can you do in the moment to kind of honor the conversations you had beforehand with her and the assessment, and whether she wanted to have the placenta saved or not, or whether she wanted to have soft music, if she wanted to, have anything special. So get to know the mother really well, read the room, lower your expectations, and get ready to be engulfed in a wealth of new beginnings, literally new beginnings. um, and the final thing before we leave, I'm not sure if I told anybody what a doula was. Like I think I asked everybody, what,
Mm-mm.
because
Mm-mm.
I didn't say it because I
Ouch.
still get asked this, right? So a doula is a trained support person who provides emotional, physical, and informational care to individuals before, during, and after childbirth. Doulas are not clinical, but we are witnesses, guides, and sacred companions on the journey of bringing life into the world. We hold hands, we hold space, and hold the stories of birthing people with compassion and strength. From breath work to back rubs, from advocacy in the delivery room to checking in during postpartum after the baby, a doula's role is rooted in love, empowerment, and presence. Historically, doulas have always existed, especially in communities of color, as the village aunties, wise women, and birth workers who walk with families through the most vulnerable and powerful transitions of
Go put
life.
in my. I'll watch you.
And happy Women's History Month to all the women out there. Happy World Doula Week to my fellow doulas. And any closing words for you all, preferably a way that you want to be contacted, if somebody wants to contact you. Say if someone's watching, they're like, oh, I like that doula. I like that doula. I hear what she wants. I want to, be in contact with her. Please share the best way to contact you at this moment. Denisha?
So currently at the moment, I am not taking clients. You can follow my page, it's Denisha17, but it's a very personal page, and then there's a lot of random doula stuff I throw in there throughout the week. But it's just my personal page for now. You can always reach out. I support and help everyone virtually. Like if you ask me a question, I will answer it, and I will always get back to you with information or whatever you need. I never, decline anybody for lack of resources. But I am not taking clients at the moment because I can't be fully focused. So because
Right.
I'm going through a move. But my page is always welcome for questions and any resources, anything like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Tracy?
I'm gonna try to reach out to you too, Deanna. Denisha, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'll make sure I get your number from Sparkle and we're gonna make this happen.
Yes, please.
so actually, I also want you to be real specific about leaving your information because you're the person who trained doulas.
Hmm.
So I'm sure you're going to have another class coming up sometime soon in the future. So please tell a listening audience, people who wants to reach out to you, because you're not only a doula, you also do a lot of other things associated with childbirth. and you're also able to be reimbursed. You're also a Medicaid provider too.
Mhm.
So how can someone get in contact with you if someone was interested in becoming a doula? Share all of that.
Okay. Um, so, well, so they could first, okay, so like if it's a mom watching, and you are interested in doula services, you can go to www.mangerborndoula.com. So like if you're looking at the screen, I think it had my name and everything at the bottom at some point. I think it went away.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Um,
take that off.
oh,
Okay.
okay. Yeah, so right there on the screen. So you would just put mangerborndoula.com and you could go there and read more about me and the services and stuff. Um, but like for those that are interested in doula work, I do have an upcoming workshop for World Doula Week in honor of that on this coming Wednesday at 3 p.m. You can sign up on Eventbrite, but you would trying to think how I can say to go sign up because the website is very long. But you can hit me up at my email address. I'll put that. It's my first and last name, Ashley Ingram at rocketmail.com, rocketmail.com. Yes, it's very, very old. Um, but you can hit me up there, like if you are interested in that workshop, and I can send you the direct link that is on Eventbrite. It's a free workshop where just it's like a small crash course talking about what doulas actually do, like specifics, the emotional part, the physical part, the informational part, you know, how to get trained. Like it's gonna dive into some really good information, and I think it's a really great introductory course before taking a training. Um, but yeah, but also with the Sister Circle program, we did just host a training last year where we had 11 women of color get trained as doulas. Yay, Sister Circle.
Yes.
Um, and then I followed that up with a 6 months business mentorship program where I just pretty much poured into them just everything I know about business, but applying it to doula work, birth work, stuff like that. Because I am not only a doula, I'm a birth doula, but I just recently got trained as a postpartum doula as well. I'm not taking clients for it. I have 6 kids and a husband. I am not trying to go in someone else's home and do, cook for them, clean for them. I gotta, So, but I do have that training. I am a childbirth educator and a lactation counselor, as well as fertility counselor here and there sometimes. Um, so like there's a lot that like you can learn when it comes to helping moms. It's not just like having to be in the hospital room or in the birth room or at their home. Like there's other things that moms need that you can tap into that. And so the Sister Circle program is going to be doing another round this year. Last year they all graduated, and we were hoping to kind of like debut them coming up soon.
Yes.
Probably during World Doula Week, we'll do like a small little debut, a few of them. And, throughout the year, as the doulas feel comfortable and feel ready to jump out there, we just gonna push them forward. Like I spend a lot of time taking clients, and now I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't want to, I want to rest a little bit. So like, I want to get more of us out there because a few doulas here prior to that training, it just couldn't cover the need for like all the moms. So like if we can get more doulas trained, that's my hope. So yeah, anybody who's interested in that, it is specific for women of color or that identify as a woman of color or BIPOC. And so because as Sparkle mentioned earlier with the disparities in our rates when it comes to the birth rates, mortality rates of the maternal side, the infant mortality rates, breastfeeding rates, all of the disparities there. There's just such a great need to like specifically focus on the women of color community when it comes to birthing. There's like a crisis there. So, but if there are non women of color that want to be trained, I would still say reach out to me because I work with a lot of different organizations and other doula agencies that are always looking to like put out trainings and get doulas into their agencies and help them get clients. So like it'll just be a great idea whether you want a doula or want to become a doula. I would say just reach out. I can connect you to like where you need to go. And I'm
Wonderful.
also on Facebook too. But, you just type my name and you'll see me.
Hit
There's
her
not a
up,
lot of Ashley
ladies.
Ingrams out there.
Get with her. And no comment left behind. So it says that's why hospitals should work hand in hand with doulas. That was earlier when we was having a conversation about being tied down and not knowing enough information. So, and then this one says, does I guess you meant to say Denisha have children? JJ thinks his friend from karate's mom. Hilarious. Okay, so I
Oh,
just
Denisha, you're muted. Say it
I
again.
realized I said yes. We take Taekwondo.
Oh, see?
That's so funny. Now I'm wondering. I'm like, wait, who's that?
and
It's so cool. Like when you get older and your kids are of age and they have these friends, and then like their friends see you from something, some program or event, and it's like,
yes.
oh my God, like I know you, but you're from this place and you don't know the person, but they remember seeing you. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
I have twin. I heard you have twins too. You
Yeah.
have well, I have twin girls, and Sparkle can tell you they're very social, so they don't forget
Yes.
anybody. If they met you once and they see you in the supermarket, they want to go say hi. So it's like
Yeah.
I have to be aware of like everyone because my kids know everybody.
Yeah. So basically you're famous. You're famous from them being very social. Yeah.
That's so funny.
So
That's
I
so
just
cool. How old are your twin girls, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't mind. They're 7.
Oh wow, they're social butterflies so soon. I have one daughter and she is one of the twins. It was a boy and girl set of twins, and she's very shy, very, very shy, and she's 10 and she's just, kind of opening herself up to just be like more social. But like, yeah, for a while they're just very quiet. Both the twins, they're very chill type people. So yeah,
Very
it's pretty
chaotic on
cool.
this side, so that's nice.
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
I love it.
Okay, so I just want to thank everybody who tuned in and listening. There's still some eyes watching now. I see you on Facebook. Excuse me, on Facebook, but gonna catch us next time, people. Thank you for tuning in to Reality Speaks TV. Real people, real
Yay.
talk, and real time. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.